So good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you again to the 2023 Riverview Candidates, or Meet the Candidates Forum, rather. And tonight we're going to be hearing from our City Council candidates. My name is Ron Hendricks. I'm the President and CEO of the Southern Wayne County Regional Chamber of Commerce. And I want to thank our friends at Go Big Multimedia and the Riverview Register, who are today's sponsor, who paid for this forum and put this wonderful forum together so that you can meet all 10 candidates who are running for the Riverview City Council. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce the president and the publisher, today's moderator of this wonderful forum, and that is Will Evans. So let's give Will a round of applause.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Ron had said, my name is Will Evans, and I am president, publisher of Go Big Multimedia. I thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight, especially the candidates. The candidate questions have been submitted to us via email, United States Post Office, and personally delivered to our office. We have had many questions, and they will be asked individually to each candidate, where we have chosen this format just like our successful Meet the Candidates Forum 2 years ago. Another way of doing a question and answer forum is the same question is asked to all the candidates. Well, the first candidate asked must respond immediately. All the other candidates then would have additional time to think about their answers. I personally don't believe that that is fair to all concerned. For each candidate, they will have 1 minute for opening statements. They will be asked an equal amount of questions with a 1.5 minute time limit for their answers, excluding the yes or no questions. They will have 2 minutes for their closing comments. Mr. Ron Hendricks, President Chairman of Southern Wayne County Chamber of Commerce, and his lovely wife, Leah, along with my beautiful wife, Sherry Evans of Go Big Multimedia, will be the timekeepers. With 15 seconds left, they will wave the American flag, and at the end of that time, the bell will ring. Candidates, please do not continue after the bell. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a debate. This is the opportunity for the candidates to express their positions and their ideas for the greater good of our city. Candidates, I wish you all a very successful campaign. I will be addressing the candidates by their first name, as I do not want to mispronounce their last name and the TV team makes another big blooper video of me. By first name in alphabetical order, we will begin with the opening statements for 2 minutes. Bill, please begin, sir. Opening statement for 2 minutes.
There we go. The reason I am running for council is that the city appears to be returning policies regarding pension and health care benefits for retirees that created financial stress we're currently dealing with. The council, knowing that the city had to file a deficit elimination plan with the state, recently approved a contract going back to a defined pension benefit and failed to increase the age to 60 before an employee was entitled to health care benefits, the same as all other employees in our community. The city had previously retained a financial advisor, Redmond, to make recommendations regarding our pension and OPEB. This current council ignored every recommendation they made. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Brett, 1 minute, sir.
Well, I'm not in front of the camera, but my name is Brett Chittum, and I'm a proud Riverview resident. I haven't lived here as long as most people. But what I have been a part of in Riverview and in the downriver community is a strong business leader. And I believe this council needs to have strong business leaders in the council. The city is a business, has $117 million in assets. It has a budget, it has debits, it has credits, it has budgetary constraints it has to make. And people have to understand and be able to look at a financial report as a council member and be able to have some semblance of that understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Brian, 1 minute, sir.
Well, they say to dress for the job that you want, but I say dress for the temperature of the room that you're going to be in, because it's quite cold in here. I can be all so I'm happy to see that so many people came out tonight. It's encouraging to know that so many people want to know what the council members have to offer to them. So my name is Brian Webb, and I'm a candidate for city council. For those that don't know me personally, I would like to share a bit about myself. Riverview has been my home for over 50 years. My wife, kids, and I grew up here and all graduated from Riverview Community High School. Being a lifelong resident means something, but it's not my only qualifications for city council. I have also been serving the community for 9 years as the president of the Riverview Community Neighborhood Watch, 8 years as the president of the City of Riverview Economic Development Corporation and Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, 12 years as the secretary of the City of Riverview Board of Review, and 3 years of leadership board in the Klaus Steele Superfund CAG. My proudest achievement is founding and leading on the board of directors of a nonprofit called Be Well My Friends, which has raised $900,000.
Thank you, Brian. Dave, 1 minute, please.
Hello?
Start the time.
All right. For those of you who don't know me, my name is David Bray. I've been a resident of the city for roughly 15, 16 years. Since we moved into the city, we absolutely fell in love with it. I spent a little over 10 years volunteering as a youth baseball coach, as a head coach, and a few years volunteering for the football. I have absolutely loved this city from the day we moved in. Most of you that know me know that my son was in here back in 2015. This city came around my family. The support, and I'm not going to get into it too much because for whatever reason it still brings me up to a little bit of teary-eyed, but this city did so much for my family that we decided that we would start doing outreach back to the city, just to do a little bit of payback for all the love you guys showed us. For the last 6 years, we've done snow removal for all seniors that can't afford or can't
15 seconds.
And that's our way of paying the city back. The entire reason I decided to run for council is because I got tired of lies being told to residents. I may not. That does go fast.
Thank you, Dave. There's more opportunities, sir. Don, 1 minute, please.
My name is, hello? Yeah. My name is Don Janeski. I've been a resident for approximately 54 years in the city. I'm a graduate of Riverview Schools at the University of Michigan. I've been married for 50 years to my lovely wife Julie, and we have 2 children, Nicole and Ryan, both graduates of Riverview Schools. We're also blessed with 4 grandsons. I've also had the honor and privilege of serving 33 years in our city as a police officer, retiring as chief of police and fire. I have balanced budgets, generated revenues, and negotiated contracts for the city. I have served on both sides as a union member and as an administrator in my career. I have volunteered countless hours in community activities such as the Library Commission, coaching
15 seconds.
baseball and football, and serving on the retiree pension board. I will work diligently for the residents, keep Riverview a clean, vibrant, affordable, and safe place to live and work. I will bring a fresh perspective and leadership and experience.
Thank you very much, Don. Elmer, test the mic, please.
Is it working?
There we go.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Elmer, 1 minute for an opening statement, sir.
Okay, my name is Elmer Trombley. I'm married to my wife, Nancy, who I lost 7 years ago. I got 5 children, Jim, Rob, Kim, Dawn, and Todd, who all graduated from Riverview School. I am a former councilman of 38 years in the city of Riverview, and the reason I'm running now is they passed an ordinance to sell marijuana in this city, and I don't buy it. We, the residents of Riverview, should have been able to vote on it before they passed the ordinance. And
15 seconds, sir.
I will do my best to get the landfill back on the books. It's not over yet. 16 cities wanted it.
Thank you very much, Elmer. And ladies and gentlemen, just a friendly reminder, hold the mic up very close so everybody can hear you, okay? And folks in the back, again, I want to be fair to all concerned. If you have not heard an answer, please speak up in the very beginning so we can restart the clock and restart the answer of the candidate. Thank you. And Heather, hi. 1 minute for an opening statement, please.
Hi, my name's Heather Smiley.
Can you hear Heather, please? Try again.
Hi, my name's Heather Smiley. Thank you. My name's Heather Smiley, and I'm running for city council because I was literally called. When I listened to the budget meeting, the city council, to their credit, and to the mayor, to their credit, said we need help from the community because we got a lot of challenges ahead of us, and I thought that's my calling. I have extensive experience as a creative problem solver, working with multi-million-dollar budgets and quite a bit of project management experience, also with customer service and engagement. So I think that my skill set that I currently have is makes me a unique candidate to help the city move forward, and thank you for your time.
Let's reset. And John, 1 minute opening statement, sir.
My name is John Eckman. I've been a resident for about 5 years here in Riverview. I've been downriver 35 years now. So I have a wife, beautiful wife in the back there. I have 5 children ranging from 29 years to 6 years old. I have 1 grandchild just born, Trinidad. He's 4 months now. So down to it, I agree with Elmer over here. I'm not agreeing to the way the ordinance was passed. I believe that everybody in the city has an opportunity to vote on big things like cannabis, and I do believe that that is not something that we need in our city. So this is what I'm after. It's not my agenda, but it's just one of those things we need to get figured out, and then we have obviously some bigger things to worry about as well, including the landfill and where we're
15
going to
seconds.
find that $3 million in revenue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Nicole.
Good evening. I'm Nicole Clark. I have lived in Riverview for 16 years. I am on my 2nd term in the Parks and Rec Commission, the Local Officers Compensation Board, and the Economic Development Corp, and Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. I'm also a member of Riverview Kiwanis. I'm committed to serving and giving back to Riverview and our residents. I'm willing to learn, put time in, put the effort in for our future, and get back to Riverview like it's given to me.
Thank you, Nicole. Susie, can you hear me down there? Okay. Susie, 1 minute for an opening statement, please.
I don't know, is it on? Yes. Good evening, my name is Susie O'Neill. I'm currently the only incumbent that's running for re-election. Quick background, I've been living in the city for 17 years. I'm married to a police officer in the city, and we've raised our 2 boys in the community. I've served the residents for three and a half years on council, and I do not believe the financial issues happened in 3.5 years. I do not believe they can be fixed in 3.5 years. I do not feel I am done yet. My experience is beneficial to the community.
Thank you very much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for the first question. Bill, what is the major issues facing the future of our city, and what is your proposed solution?
The biggest issue facing our community is the unfunded liabilities. We need to keep addressing those. During my previous term, we reduced the unfunded liabilities from 47 million down to 33 million. We need to continue on that path, and I don't see the current council doing it.
Thank you very much, Bill. Brett, a citizen asked, what would you change to make all the residents more aware of the council decisions?
Honestly, I've actually had a few talks with people within the city. Why don't we have a city council town hall meeting? Why don't we take that fourth Monday that we don't meet or we don't have a study session and actually meet with the citizens at least once a quarter? Why the hell are we not doing this?
Thank you, Brett. Brian, what ideas do you have to bring additional income into the city?
Well, as you know, you can't spend more than you make, and right now the tax burden, at least 3/4 on Riverview residents, the residential properties. So, my biggest idea is to bring a downtown development to the 40 acres next to the golf course. There's a wooded property there that's a maintenance shed, and there are developers that are interested in taking that property. I would like to see a nice mixed use with townhomes, 2 stories on tops, and retail, restaurants, shopping on the bottom, and also make it into a community place where there's theater, there's entertainment that we don't currently have. So picture downtown Birmingham, where you have in a square a nice green space in the middle, a nice fountain that ties into Huntington drainage and goes into Young Patriots Park, and also a bike path coming up from the the Poet Drain, coming along the golf course and up into this downtown area, and then out through our business district that's on 4th Street. So biking is a big thing right now, and a lot of families want to take advantage of that. So besides the downtown, I would also develop areas that are green right now, which are wooded. We have a lot along King and Sibley. I would bring industrial and commercial developments along West Jefferson, and the most thing I'd work on is getting Sibley Commons to fess up and sell it and get a good business in there.
Thank you, Brian. Dave, what is the best way to address differences of opinion between the council members?
All right, so I actually really like this question. Being the moderator of the Facebook page, Andy brought it up earlier. A lot of times I think some of the residents need to understand that, look, we all have differing opinions. Eventually we all have to remember that we're all neighbors, we're all residents, we all want the best for the city. As far as the city council goes, everybody in this room and all the residents have always heard, well, there's a 4-3 majority on this behalf or this behalf. What they're not privy to is that most of the city council members are all working together right now. And what we need is, and I'll echo Chuck Norton's statement about, we need a unified team captain. We need somebody who is basically pushing the city in the right direction. Now, as city council members, that's what we absolutely have to do for one another. Now, I'm one of the most stubborn people you're ever going to meet, but we need to present logical, factual arguments to one another, work together for the best solution for the city, and move forward from that position. And this infighting has got to stop. All it's doing is destroying the city. Every one of us are neighbors. Every one of us love this city. Eventually, we're all going to have to come together because at this point, because of lack of foresight, we're in an emergency situation. If things don't change,
15 seconds.
We're looking at severe economic issues for the city.
Thank you, Dave. Don, what separates you from all the other candidates, and why should you be elected?
What separates me from the other candidates is that I have 33 years of experience with the city government. I've worked in the city as a police officer, rising through the ranks up to the position of chief of police and fire. During that time, I've worked, with negotiations for the city. I have worked very hard to improve everything in the city concerning the relationship between the police and the fire departments at the time. I have served on both sides as a union member and as an administrator, so I always can see both sides of any issue that arises during anything for the city. People who know me and have worked with me know that I'm fair and honest, and that I work diligently towards the outcome for the betterment of the city.
Thank you, Don. Elmer, have you received any endorsements or donations from any special interest groups for your campaign? Microphone, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I'm usually endorsed by the United Steelworkers of America and AFSCME. I have asked for no financial help. I'm doing it on my own, and like I said, I'm doing it for a reason. I want this city to be Riverview, not Reeferview. So the residents are going to get their chance to make that decision.
Thank you, Elmer. Heather, why are you running for council seat? And if elected, what would be your first priorities?
Great question, thank you. Like I said earlier in my opening statement, when I was listening to the budget discussion that the mayor and the city council were having, to their credit, they really need help, they need ideas, and they need creative problem solvers, and I think that's where I can really add value. What I've done is I've put together a near, mid, and long-term plan for the city. I think there's things that we can do right away, because nobody in the audience or online, nobody wants to have us, the city, come back to the well every time and ask for more money. We need sustainable near, mid, and long-term plans. We need to make a 3 and a 5 and a 10-year budget, so we're not here back up against 2025 with the landfill funds not coming into the general fund of the operating budget for the city. So we don't want to be in these problems. We need to be proactive. We need to be proactive in the community, right? That's why we all live here. We want the engagement. We like the activities. We love the people. And also work with the businesses that are here. The Arkema property, that's 90 acres just sitting there, not doing anything. So we really need a lot of opportunity across the spectrum.
Thank you, Heather. John, how would you describe your leadership style? What is your most important skill of being a good council member?
Well, my leadership style is this. I like to engage people. I've been engaging people in safety, for example, for the last 18 years as a safety director. So engaging people and getting people's opinions, getting them thinking about what we're trying to do and get the same thought processes through them. So my thought process in making sure that this city is moving in the right direction is getting each and every one of you individual citizens involved with the decisions that we're making through the city council. So how I do that? Well, I ask questions. I give you guys a forum potentially where you can go and submit your ideas, because we're all going to need to come up with some really great ideas here very soon on how we're going to make up all the big money that's going to be going on in the landfill. So the other things that I'd like to tell you guys about, the traits that I have that you asked, integrity, trustworthiness, transparency. Everybody uses that word, but I'm going to tell you guys, I'm upfront, I'm gonna tell you like it is, I have nothing to hide. I got nothing, no sort of agenda here to take anybody in the wrong direction, especially the city. So I wanna make sure you guys understand, my leadership skills are making sure that everybody's part of this team, we work as a team, make decisions as a team, we're consistent, we're communicating between each other, and we're able to make
15
compromises.
seconds.
Compromise is key.
Thank you, John. Nicole, do you think our 4th Street district is healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change that?
I think the 4th Street District is average at best. I think there's a lot of room for improvement. I think a lot of improvement is coming our way very quickly. I think there is more room for improvement through the Economic Development Court. And as far as welcoming new businesses, maintaining the businesses that are there, potential tax breaks for businesses to redo their storefronts. But I think we're going to see a lot of new businesses very soon, and it's going to make a big difference on 4th Street.
Thank you, Nicole. Susie, if you could do the dispensary ordinance over again, what would you do differently?
When the committee was formed, we actually had our city attorney with us who helped us develop the ordinance, hence the 300-foot buffer. He also suggested not putting a cap on the amount, but that was why the buffer was created. There isn't anything that would be changed. Our city attorney helped create it, along with our community developers, so there is nothing that I would change.
Thank you, Susie. And back to the top of the alphabet. Bill, you have served on council in the past. What is your reason for wanting to return?
In my prior tenure as a councilman, I focused on reducing costs by making common sense changes to existing contract language that substantially reduced our unfunded liability. In fact, throughout my tenure, we reduced the unfunded liability for health care from $47 million to $33 million by increasing the age to 60 before retired employees were entitled to receive health care benefits. In addition to establishing an OPEC account requiring yearly contributions. In addition, I was instrumental in policy changes for duty disability reexamination policies adopted by the Retirement Board and Procedures in May of 2015. The Pension Board now employs a medical director to review all applications for duty disability and make recommendations to the Pension Board. This stopped abuses and saved our community a few $1 million. Also, I brought about changes in monitoring employees collecting workers' comp. We had a case where we had one employee collecting workers' comp performing inspections, and he failed to turn over thousands of dollars to the city of Riverview.
15 seconds. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bill. Brett, how do you plan to involve the residents in the decision-making process to get the consensus of the majority for your voting decisions as a councilman?
You know, I believe in community. I believe that as a community working together to have conversation, community is equal to family in a lot of ways. And having us as a family, we all live in the city of Riverview. We all want to be and have a better Riverview. So fostering communication between myself and the residents, having an open door policy. I will say that I've been a part of businesses where leadership didn't have an open door policy, and there was a lot of dissension within those troops. And I think fostering and engaging the community in one way, shape, or form is the best way to do it.
If someone came to you with a proposal to build a new piece of infrastructure in our city, i.e. road, bridge, etc., how would you evaluate whether or not that project was worth implementing?
I'll stay seated for this one, make it easy on Larry. So deciding if we have the funds for the infrastructure for new roads, obviously someone that needs to be paying close attention to the budget. I've been attending the budget meetings since 2018, 2 nights, every night, and then following up with questions to make sure that I understand the budget and what monies that we have available. So we have money that's set aside for infrastructure improvements, and sometimes, as the mayor said, those get shifted away to cover other budgetary needs. But the question would be, was that the right decision? Because if that change had been made in the winter, and we have a lot of infrastructure that fails during the winter, would we have had the money for that? So somebody needs to be paying attention to that. I would also possibly have to get bonds from residents. It's not a popular word, but we could also work with government entities, the MDOT, to get bonds for the road improvements, because as we all know, it's pothole city out there, right? And they've done a good job over by the landfill keeping it, filled. But so I would work with MDOT, and I would make sure that we're fiscally responsible with the monies that we do have, and try not to put the burden on residents with bonds.
Thank you very much, Brian. Dave, could you support a decision made by the council that you did not vote in favor of? Why or why not?
I don't suppose I can get you to clarify that.
Say again, sir.
I don't suppose I can get you to clarify that? In what way do you mean support?
The question asked, could you support a decision made by the council that you did not vote in favor of?
Okay. This is an unfair question. As far as can I support the decision of the council? Absolutely. The entire reason I got involved with this race is because I wanted honesty and transparency to come back to the city council. Now, one of the former council members just made a remark that he's running because he doesn't want this city known as Riverview. Okay, fine, that's your opinion. At what length do we decide to go to where we say honesty is more important than getting what you want? That's the question that we need to start asking each other. At what point do we start putting facts above what we want as council members, as people that are actually running for election? Now, becoming a council member was always second to me when I made this decision. My decision to run was simply because I wanted the residents to be informed on the pros and cons of bringing dispensaries to the city. If the council makes a decision, whether I support it or not, once the decision is made, we need to move forward as a team to get it accomplished. That's the best answer I can give you.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Don, what do you think is the city's biggest strength?
I believe the biggest strength of the city is the residents themselves. They work we should all work together to make the city better, and the council should follow the will of the residents. And, be it for cannabis or whatever, road bonds or whatever, we need to follow the will of the residents, even though we may not agree with them personally. That is what the residents want, and that's why we would be elected. If we are elected, we should follow that procedure. And the people of this community, you can see how strong they are. And people love living in this city. We have good schools. We have the police department and fire department are strong, and there's a lot of activities, and through the library and recreation, and that all brings everybody together. And the strength of any city, I believe, is the residents themselves, and the council and mayor just follow 15 seconds. Follow that, and that's it.
Thank you, Don. Elmer, the current council sometimes appears to be voting as a group on issues. How would you stop the split in our council? Therefore, what is your plan to bring all council members together to obtain a more cohesive group?
I think the council today will never be separated. It'll be 4-3 all the time, most of the time. We need some new council people on the council. These people that want marijuana to be sold in this city, I tell them, no way. And you know, Riverview is the best little city in the United States of America. And if it ain't, we're second to none. I've been around this city for 71 years. And I've been in people's houses and everything. But I don't think this council that's there today will ever get along.
Thank you, Elmer. Heather, what's more important for our city right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing, expanding, or better utilizing our existing storefronts?
Good question. So I think there's a balance there, right? When you talk about refurbishing the existing storefronts, that money's coming out of the businesses because the businesses have to fund that. And given the current economic condition, a lot of the business might be struggling. So it's kind of hard to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, I want you to fix your storefront. So I think, you know, over time, that's definitely an opportunity. But one of the things to think about is U of M, and if you look at the city's website, there's grants for businesses for $10,000. And I wonder how many of our businesses even know that they can get a grant for $10,000. So I think there's an opportunity for them, for existing businesses, and in terms of growth, the Arkema property is 90 acres for the, and that's still vacant. It's been vacant for years. And if you look at the existing 40 acres that the city's planning on developing, what is the optimal way to develop that property where it can enhance the community but also bring in the revenue, right? What is that mix? So that assessment needs to be explored so that we can maximize the development of the property and increase the revenue into the city.
Thank you very much, Heather. John, how would you attract more businesses and investment to Riverview?
It's a very good question. I think that's one of the challenging things, the challenging issues we've had throughout the years of how you bring companies and new businesses into our city. I believe that there's some opportunity that we can work on vacant or vacated strip mall, for example, that I know has been sitting there for some time now. I heard that there's some underlying issues why that is still sitting the way it is for tax write-up or something. But I'd like to talk with the owners of that, for example, that whole strip, to see whether there's an opportunity where we can get them to move on it, sell it, redevelop it. There's only one way for bringing new companies into the city, and it's having that space to put them in. So, I mean, I'm not past building new buildings, but we have a very short, small amount of square footage here in the city where we can build new buildings. So anything that's open, vacant, if we could develop it, redevelop it, expand it like we mentioned, anything we could do to bring in some companies would be a great idea.
Thank you very much, John. And Nicole, what do you plan to accomplish in your first year in office, and how would your plans be funded?
Very good question. First year in office, honestly, for any of us, I believe, except Susie, it would be a learning curve to start. You're not gonna just jump in and know exactly what to do, how to do it. You've gotta learn the people, you gotta learn the process. Everybody has plans that, in their mind, their dream plans, one being a dog park or, developing something. You've got to look for grants. You've got to look for other sources of income. You've got to look for investors. You've got to, just like the Ferndale, the property across from Ferndale. We're looking at, investors to come up not only with the money, but potential plans for that. So we always have to keep our options open. We always have to keep our minds open.
Thank you, Nicole. Susie, what do you see as a council member's primary role?
First of all, there's 7 of us, so we don't make any decisions on our own. The role is to help make those tough decisions. We do place the ordinances. There are votes that go along. We have a leader, but in the end, there is 7 of us. Nobody does anything by themselves. So that being said, it is to help lead the city, but we are a team. There is a group of us. That's something that you learn very quickly when you're on council. It is a whole group that helps. Whether you're like-minded or not, you help make decisions together and discuss them. And again, it's a team effort.
Thank you, Susie. And back to the beginning of the alphabet of the first names. Bill, what is other post-employment benefits, and why is it so important for the financial well-being of our city?
Can you repeat that?
Yes, sir. What is the other post-employment benefits? I repeat, quote, other post-employment benefits, and why is it so important for the financial well-being of our city?
Well, first of all, not as far as unemployment, as far as disability and that, we're self-insured. We pick up all of those costs. We just have a carrier and we fund it. If I'm understanding your question correctly.
I'm just reading the question from the citizen, sir. And would it be otherwise interpreted with the initials of OPEB?
The OPEB, that's the underfunded liability for the pension. What that amounts to is basically we've entered into contracts with the union to provide certain benefits, and we've neglected to fund them. That amount is growing and growing. It's got to amount to an amount kind of like a credit card. You can keep making a minimum payment, but it gets to a point it's choking. That's where we're at. The OPEB cost this year alone was like $1.4 million. They were $800,000 short of funding the commitments that they made by their contracts. That's why I want to address contract changes.
Thank you, Bill. Brett, as a councilman, how would you promote economic development into Riverview?
By promoting Riverview as a place to do business. We have yes, we are a bedroom community, but we also have 4th Street. We also have a lot of commercial space on the east side as well. First and foremost, let's make some of these buildings look better. Let's, like I think Nicole said over there, we need to talk with the owners of these buildings. The Riverview Commons, why does it sit vacant like that? Because people don't want to rent because the owner won't fix the issues and problems. So he gets a tax break. Great. That's his write-off every year. Let's cause pain to that. Why not do something as a city to create fines that are higher and more stringent on him or the owners there? Because if we're not going to have facilities that look nice and are ready to be moved into, why would businesses want to come here?
Thank you, Brett. Brian, you have stated at a December council meeting in your support of the dispensaries that you could smell money. Please describe. And can you estimate how much money in the city will receive from the dispensaries?
Well, that was actually a quote of, ooh, what's that smell? Because I was comparing the odoriferous scent coming from the landfill to odoriferous scent that you might smell from smoking marijuana. So that's what that statement was about. But yes, I do see the potential for these types of businesses, the cannabis industry, to bring revenue. And I know everybody talks about the $10,000 that goes to the city, the $5,000 for the application fee, the revenue sharing from the state. But I see it as an anchor business. We don't have anchor businesses. Riverview is a pass-through bedroom community, correct? So we could use these businesses to bring people into Riverview, and I know for a fact that these people that own these facilities are looking to invest into Riverview to build restaurants and bars, retail, and other type of businesses. So if you can attract people into Riverview and have these people investing in undeveloped areas along King Road, you've got right next to Shell Station at Arias, 9 acres there. You got 20 acres at the Sibley Commons. You got 40 acres over at the golf course that's wooded. So, and then along King Road, you've got all these wooded areas that could be developed if there's a reason for people to come here and stay spending their money in Riverview, whether it be local residents or from around the area. So there's a lot of opportunity to make money, and if you smell it and you don't like the smell of marijuana, then just know that your residential tax base is going down.
Thank you, Brian. Dave, I am a mother of children, and for them to look up to you, will you be able to conduct yourself in a professional manner during the council meetings? You have mentioned on Facebook videos that you need to work on your language, and that is why I submitted this question to you.
Do I have to answer that?
Any candidate can abstain from any question.
All right, so actually, to be completely honest, that is a very valid question. So I've spent the last 23 years as a safety engineer for Cleveland Cliffs. It's been several different names, Roof Steel, Ford Motor Company, Severstal, AK Steel. Well, the way I come off, I am very blunt, I am very forward. I don't make apologies for that. Sometimes I can be a little forceful, sometimes I can be a little aggressive. My girlfriend likes to call me a bull in a china shop. And I have no such thing as feel as my golf game proves. I've been a coach for this city for 12 years. I would challenge anybody to see one of my kids who I coached, who I watched grow through this city, ever hear me use a foul language. I don't even allow smoking near the field, let alone use foul language around my kids. So absolutely, being a safety engineer in a steel mill and talking directly to residents through my videos, yes, I'm me, I'm blunt, and sometimes I use less than wonderful language. However, what I won't apologize is for being me. I was very clear when I first started running, I'm not a politician. I don't make apologies for the way I speak because I want residents to know who I am and what I stand for. That's not going to change, but yes, I can conduct myself professionally.
Thank you very much, Dave. Don, if elected, what steps would you take to help Riverview's finances, and how would you stretch the taxpayers' dollars?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is have a vision for the future. We need to secure the revenue base, find new forms of revenue, develop our property that is available for developing, determine areas of the city for capital improvement. We need vision and forethought to perpetuate the city's long-term growth and economic viability. We need to improve the planned unit development, make better structure in place for the land that can be developed and be managed for long-term source of revenue in the form of property taxes. I think the city should also look to possibly hire a grant writer to help with needs, you know, like the other gentlemen here have said. We need to be creative and find future sources of revenue for the city.
Thank you, Don. And Elmer, how do you go about getting grant money for the city, and what areas would you target? Yes, sir. The question is, how would you go about getting grant money for the city, and what areas would you target with that money? Wait for the time.
I was trying to talk to the city manager to get grants for seniors, for kids, to better educate them. Our seniors need help, and so do the kids. I've done a lot for the kids in Riverview, and I personally, not to do with this question, but I give $42,000 to the Riverview High School for grants, not grants, scholarships that I raised at a golf volley for the American Legion Post 389, where we raised money for to give the kids a chance to get some education that their parents couldn't afford. And it worked out well. Other than that, I've been involved with the seniors, the kids, and the residents. I've been in more people's basements and backyards. And we need, I don't know a lot about grants, but I have to go to the city manager for them.
Thank you very much, Elmer. Heather, citizen asks, if elected as a councilwoman, how can the city council support small businesses in our city? What could be done better?
That's a great question. So the city has previously put out surveys, but they're far and few between, and sometimes they're not asking the right questions. So one of the things that I would do specifically to your question about businesses, let's send questions out to the businesses, a questionnaire out to the businesses about how we can help them not only grow, but sustain themselves, especially in this poor economy. The other thing that's an opportunity, the U of M actually has an Economic Growth Institute, and we have a guest here from, from the economic development. There's economic development. There's a lot of opportunities and partnerships that we can get out, get information from. So we may not have the expertise in the city right now, or the council for that matter, but there's a ton of resources out there, and if we can reach out to those resources, find if there's grants, find if there's funding, see what the businesses in the city need and want to grow. Maybe they need employment, maybe they need some infrastructure. So we need to really reach out to the businesses and be creative about getting outside funding, but also helping them directly.
Thank you very much, Heather. And John, if you were on the TV show Under the Radar Michigan, how would you describe Riverview, and what would you say to encourage folks to move here?
Well, I'm not familiar with the Under the Radar, but I would like to say that the city of Riverview has a lot of great people, a lot of big hearts, and we care about the development and the goals and objectives of the city, which means I believe that every citizen here believes that they want the best city council in here, they want the best benefits for the city. They obviously want the cheapest rates of tax and you know, everything that a citizen looks for in the city. I think we've got that. I think we've honed that down. I think we've got a great leadership. I think that we have some city council openings that we can fill to put even better or more leadership into those positions. And I believe that I could sell that to anybody who wanted to listen to me about it.
Thank you, John. And Nicole, a citizen asks, if the city received a $1 million grant to use in the city any way you wanted, what would you do with it and why?
$1 million. I don't think we think enough about our seniors. Over 20% of our population is now seniors. There's so many things that could be done for them. Look at Riverview Towers in the last city council meeting. There's so many things they need. My mother's a senior, I'm a caregiver. One of the biggest things I would do is expand our network, you know, for our seniors and our children, but mostly our seniors. They're our heart. Even so, you know, we have a Parks and Rec Commission. Our Senior Rec Commission has not been active for over 10 years. 10 years. I just brought that up, you know, at a commission meeting. There's no reason for that, not with the high percentage, the high population of seniors we have. So that's where I would focus.
Thank you, Nicole. And Susie, what do you feel that you did not accomplish in your first term of council? Therefore, what would you attack to get reelected for a second term to accomplish it?
I agree with everybody else that we do need more small businesses. Cannabis probably, what I would say, is going to be the first start. In my first term, though, a year and a half of it was spent on Zoom. So I was elected in November of 19. By March, we hit a pandemic, and unfortunately, it was very difficult to learn and to work as a team when you never got together and everything was done on a camera. There was no dialogue, there was nothing, it was very short. Councilman Norton and I both worked very close together to try to learn things, but first term was definitely difficult due to the pandemic, but new businesses are important. I think we're moving in that direction. Not everyone agrees on that, but that's okay. I did what I thought is right. We do need income for the city, and hopefully we can get moving in that direction.
Thank you very much, Susie. And ladies and gentlemen, back to the top of the alphabet. And Bill, in your opinion, what is the correct amount of police officers Riverview should have and why? And please hold the microphone close, sir.
Just repeat that, please.
Yes, sir. In your opinion, what is the correct amount of police officers Riverview should have and why?
If you do a per capita and you compare it to Wyandotte, Southgate, Trenton, all our neighbors, we have about 21 total officers. Our community is smaller than those communities. We don't have the bars and restaurants. You don't have the large retail. That increases the need. But 21 should be sufficed if we follow the ratios of other communities. And we're not exposed to the same problems they are. For example, we don't have a whole lot of rentals in our community, but when communities have more rentals for whatever reason, crime seems to go up. We got favorable conditions in this community, and that should be more than sufficient.
Thank you, sir. And Brett, a citizen asks, do you have a strong business background that enables you to understand the city's budget? If so, please give your professional experience examples.
Let's face it, this city's budget is our budget, right? It's our money. It's what we put in with our tax dollars. So when I ran my businesses for 23 years in the insurance industry, and I had multiple employees and worked with large budgets of my own, spending my own money, I did it very diligently. So part of being in council was to do that as well and spend our money diligently and with thought and concern. Ask the second part of that question again.
Yes, sir. If so, please give your professional experience examples.
Okay, well, I answered that like I should ask the first part. Business, this city is a business, but the unique business of it. Think of you, us as residents. We are the customer, but we're also the business owner. So when we spend money or when we invest money into our city, we're investing it into ourselves to have profits like public service, the police, fire, to have profits like parks and recreation, to have profits like city workers that do things for us when we come in and ask questions or when we go pay our water bill, to have profits of things for us.
I'm going to grant another 15 seconds to that, Brett, because you asked to repeat the second part.
That's okay. We'll move on. We're good.
Very good. Thank you, sir. I'm just trying to be fair to all concerned. And Brian, how would you encourage the equal enforcement of our city ordinances to make businesses and homeowners keep their properties clean? Are you ready, sir?
I am.
Start the timer, please.
So recently, the Planning Commission put out a survey that was open to all residents to respond, and some of those questions were pertaining exact question about the fairness of the ordinances and what ranking residents would like to give to those topics, such as blight, cars parked in the street, trailers, storefronts that are unkept, etc. So a whole litany of things. And we have yet to see that, and I've asked for it, and the Planning Commission chair has said that he was going to give it to me. So once I have that, then I can use that as a base to come back to the residents and say, these are what you've stipulated are your priorities for your residences, for our businesses. We know that some businesses get picked on by the ordinance officers, and I've heard those complaints directly from business owners. We've heard some residents get picked on by the ordinance officers. We've now made that move to put the ordinance officers under the police department. We'll see what change that brings, if any, other than moving them out from underneath the community development director. So to answer the question a little more succinctly is we have to understand what the problems are, where the problems lie, and then make a plan to make sure that those are addressed. And I think we have the foundation by this poll that has been done. Now we just need to know what the answers are so we can take
15
action.
seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. And Dave, what Riverview community, civic, or nonprofit organizations have you been a member of in the last 10 years?
Well, besides all the work with I believe it's now called the Riverview Baseball Softball Association, back when I was a coach, it was the RBA. Before that, not in the last 10 years, was the RJFA. A lot of the associations I had to do with was through my son. As far as organized community organizations, I'm not part of any of them. What we do, however, is every year, Andy makes sure that most of the seniors know that we do snow removal for all the seniors. We've been doing this for 6 years, and I don't own a landscaping company. We don't own large machinery or anything like that. Basically, my son and I, as a way of giving back for all the love the community showed us, we load up a snow blower and a couple shovels. We go to seniors' homes who can't afford to do it themselves or are unable to do it themselves, and we take care of their snow. We don't accept tips. We don't accept anything but a smile and a thank you. And we do that every year. With the recent storms that came through the last couple of years, a couple of residents reached out to Mayor Swift, and he gave them, I believe it was the DPW, Riverview DPW. They now call us to go to seniors' homes and remove branches and limbs from their backyards if they can't remove them themselves. So as far as organized, none. We do this strictly out of, admiration for the city, so.
Very good, sir. And Don, what do you believe the role of what do you believe is the role of the city council? Explaining it like a job description.
The role of the city council, in my opinion, is to do the will of the people. We are here to listen to the problems and concerns from the people, the residents of the city, and then we should act upon them. We work for them, and their concerns and thoughts we should work with, and and work together with the citizens to make the city better as a whole, and to find out what they're looking for as problems, as far as roads or whatever their concerns are in the city. Cannabis right now is a big concern in the city. The council should listen to what, luckily it is going to a vote now, and whatever that vote is, then the council's position should be to represent those people in their thoughts on that subject itself, or any other subject concerning the running of the city.
Thank you very much, Don. And to the left side here, Elmer. You have been a long-serving council member for over 30 years. What do you feel were your major accomplishments, and what would you accomplish being elected to council again?
Yes, my major accomplishments were, I am the founder, with a lot of help, of the Riverview Hockey Association. I am also the one that went after the Veterans Memorial. I am the one with a lot of help, not by myself, but I started it, to get the Riverview Library named the Riverview Veterans Memorial Library. And I got a friend of mine that belongs to the Legion. I told him, they're getting upset with me a little bit. I said, you go tell them, you push to get the road that goes to the library, Veterans Memorial Parkway. And he did that, and now there's a beautiful sign up there, thanks to Don Janeski, who is the president of the library. And what else? I coach Little League, baseball, football.
Thank you very much, Elmer. And Heather, what would you say to parents with children that have concerns about the dispensaries in Riverview?
So, for a lot of people that aren't aware, marijuana was actually legalized in Michigan in 2018, right? And we're in 2023. So the question really becomes, it's been legalized in the state of Michigan, and now it's coming to a neighborhood here, but it's been around in surrounding neighbors for a long time. So one of the things that I would probably do is do some benchmarking and look at the crime statistics in the other areas where they've already implemented marijuana, to see if in fact it's just an urban myth that the crime or the risk to children has actually gone up or down, rather than speculate, because people are passionate on both sides of the issue, and the facts really speak for themselves. So that's what I would do. And then bring that information, once I have it, to the parents. And if in fact the crime rate does go up, that would be a conversation that we would have with the public safety team to say, here's some of the pitfalls in some of the other local communities, if in fact there was a rise in crime, so that we could address it proactively.
15 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heather. John, is there a particular issue that motivates you to serve on the council?
Well, obviously the cannabis is everybody's big issue right now, and it's the reason why, if you guys don't know, I ran 2 years ago to get on city council. I obviously did not succeed in that voyage, but I believe that everybody in the city is worked up and ready to hopefully make that decision by voting on whether they're going to keep the cannabis run or not. That's obviously the big issue, the big ticket issue right now. There's a lot of other things we need to worry about. This is just one thing that we've got to, I believe, work through real quickly here. And then bigger things we're going to talk about, obviously, with not having the expansion of the landfill and where we're going to fill that $3 million hole that everybody continues to worry about. So there's a lot of things to discuss. There's a lot of issues that we need to get through, and I believe that we just need to keep our heads down, get through it, and move on to the bigger issues of where we're going to stand in 3 to 5 to 7 years from now with the money that we're going to be losing from that landfill.
And thank you very much, sir. And Nicole, what are your proposed action plans to promote new businesses to come to Riverview?
Well, I think with the new city council, working with our EDC, Economic Development Board, we can bring in new businesses. We've already got a start on several new businesses coming in. Those, like somebody else said, are anchor businesses and will be very attractive to other businesses, especially small businesses coming in. They expect runoff from the anchor business to affect them, and it will. I think we'll see a lot of that. We've already started it.
Thank you, Nicole. And Susie, a citizen asks, some people feel it is a conflict of interest that your spouse is an employee of the city and you are a member of the city council. Are you able to have an open mind when making decisions that may or may not involve your spouse?
First of all, I'm not involved in anything that is about my spouse. I don't know why we continue to discuss him in this. I don't vote on any contracts that would financially benefit me. If there is an issue with my spouse, he has superiors that can deal with that. That's not my responsibility. I very much support him. I support our police department. In case anyone didn't know that that's where it works, I very much support our police department and do everything possible to make them better. But as for my spouse, he shouldn't be a discussion in any of these conversations. And to be honest with you, I vote on no contracts that involve the command officers.
Very good. Thank you, Susie. And ladies and gentlemen, we will now go to answers that are a new numerical answer in the first question. Only a numerical answer. And then question number 2 and number 3 will be yes or no answers only. So, the first question is, again, a numerical answer. Candidates, answer the number of city commissions or city committees that you have been on in the city of Riverview.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yes, sir. Candidates, answer the number of city commissions or city committees that you have been on in the city of Riverview.
0.
Thank you, sir. Brett?
One, I currently serve on the
Yeah,
zoning board.
just a numerical answer. Thank you, sir. To be fair to all concerned.
4.
Thank you, sir.
0.
Thank you.
3.
Thank you.
3.
In the microphone, please, Elmer.
3.
Thank you.
0.
I'm on 1.
3.
3.
3 or 4. Thank you. Okay, second question, and this is a yes or no, and it has a paragraph to begin. As a reminder to the registered voters of Riverview, in the upcoming primary regarding the dispensaries, by voting yes means no. You do not want the ordinance for dispensaries. By voting no means yes. You do want the ordinance for dispensaries. Candidates, how will you vote in August? Yes means no for the dispensaries, or no means yes, you want the dispensaries.
Yes.
Speak in the microphone, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Turn it off.
No, I think it died again.
No. No. Yes.
Okay, just so that everybody hears, would you please, at the top, repeat your answers? Bill? Without a microphone, just say loudly, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
Yes.
And now it's working. Thank you. And to continue the question, yes or no?
Yes!
Yes and no.
One answer, please.
I'll abstain then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
No.
No.
Thank you. The last question, ladies and gentlemen. You can take a deep breath now. We're almost there. It is a yes or no question. Learning from our last election, I am a concerned citizen that the following question will be fact-checked to your answer. Have you ever been convicted of a crime, misdemeanor, or a felony? Yes or no?
No.
No.
No. Yes, expunged.
Convicted?
Yes or no, or abstain?
Sure, yeah.
No.
No.
In the microphone, please, sir.
No!
No.
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 Thank you very much. Wow, you have some great candidates to choose from. And ladies and gentlemen, we had many questions sent to us. And in the coming days, depending on what side someone takes, I'm sure that I will be darned if I did or darned if I didn't ask someone's question. But we only had so much time. Tonight, I did my best to be a very fair and neutral moderator so all of you can learn more about them. Riverview Register paid for and sponsored this event tonight for you. We do our best to bring you the good news of Riverview with the city events, citizen accolades, clubs and organizations, school information, and the triumphs of the students. and much, much more. It takes a village in our office to publish your city newspaper. We have a very professional staff that I would like to thank them for all their hard work that they do to bring to you the Riverview Register. We wish all the candidates a very successful campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have learned more about your candidates tonight, and I thank you very much for spending the evening with us. Let's start at the top, and Bill, your closing statement for 2 minutes, sir.
The loss of revenue from the landfill cannot be placed on the residents, but needs to be shared by the employees and the retirees, all parties. Thousands of dollars could be saved by making common sense changes to existing contract language that drives up cost. I'm going to cite some examples. Reducing cost has the same effect as increasing revenue. For example, if you believe that a retired individual should receive compensation for overtime added to their retirement benefit, you should probably vote for the incumbent. If you believe that a retired individual should receive compensation for holidays added to their retirement benefit, you should vote for the incumbent. If you believe an individual should be able to retire at 50 and receive total health care at no cost, you should probably vote for the incumbent. They, along with others, recently approved a contract that includes the items I just referenced. Those items add approximately 16% to the pension cost, and by walking away from the 60 now, they could reduce the OPEC by another $2 million.
Thank you, Bill. Brett, 2 minutes, sir.
Well, first, thank you for putting this on. You funded this all yourself, so first and foremost, thank you for doing that.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm proud of the residents. Those are cool questions, I gotta say. Because I did a video and I talked about qualifications, and I thought qualifications were getting left out of the discussion because cannabis was such a big discussion. And I think when you look at this line of candidates, it's your determination who you feel is qualified. It's your determination, not who you like, that could play a little bit into it, but who you feel is qualified to do the job of running the city. It is a job. It is something that will be done and has to be done by somebody. There has to be 7 council members in council. You get to determine that. Do they have business acumen? Do they understand financial statements? Can they make tough decisions? Can they tell you something like this? You know what? Taxes don't really go down unless the millage goes away, right? Can we all agree with that? But what can we do to mitigate our tax increases, right? I'm Brett Chittum, and I would love your vote.
Thank you, Brett. Brian, 2 minutes, please.
Just to be clear, it was misdemeanor, minor in possession at a college party. I was just the slowest kid and didn't get away, so it's been expunged. I'm not a criminal, thank you. That was a loaded question, Will. All right, so I probably have a minute left here, so let's go. My vision is to improve the 4th Street Business District, to bring new commercial and industrial projects along West Jefferson, and to bring a downtown mixed-use development on Sibley adjacent to the golf course. I will work aggressively to improve Riverview's financial outlook by staying focused on the budget and expenditures, by going after grants and finding new revenue sources to reduce the tax burden that is already being shifted on residents. Furthermore, I will make it one of my top priorities that we continue to have quality city and first responder services. It has become increasingly more apparent that some of the most challenging times that the city has ever faced are upon us now, and that times are only going to get more challenging when the landfill closes.
Riverview needs a post-landfill vision and leaders dedicated to bringing it to the residents. I will dedicate myself to helping Riverview achieve the residents' post-fill landfill vision. It is believed that our taxes will need to be increased by around 11 mills to total to cover the revenue of the landfill is transferring to the general fund. It's projected to close in around 10 years, which is not a lot of time to prepare. The pressure to find more revenue has increased since our plans to stop revenue transfers to the general fund from the landfill revenue in 2025 and decreasing the amount of money transferred between now and then. We must start finding new revenue starting now. If I have your trust and your vote for council, you can rest assured that I will work on your behalf to achieve your post-fill landfill vision, find ways to replace the landfill revenue, and work to limit millage increases. Learn more about myself on webforcouncil.com or on Facebook. You can look for Brian Webb for Riverview City Council, or just search Brian Webb in any of the Riverview groups and see the work that I've been doing in the community for at least the past 9 years. Thank you for coming out tonight, and Will as well.
Right on the bell. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. And Dave, closing statement, 2 minutes, sir.
So I might be the only one up here without a written statement, so I'll just put it this way. Originally, when I came out for this, as I've said over and over and over again, it was just because I wanted people to start being honest with the residents. That was really all I cared about. The election was second to me. The more I've gotten involved in this election, I've seen so many things that upset me. I've seen that the lack of foresight in the city has really caused us some serious issues coming up. And that is a dangerous way to run a city. I'm doing a little bit of research on the Arkema site. 3 years ago, Debbie Dingell had put out a letter, a press release to the EPA, stating she's very disappointed that, there's been no action for 31 years on this site. 31 years. This is 31 years that our city council, our city should have been going after the EPA. They have an agreement with Arkema that is their consent, Arkema's consent based to clean up the city, that area, for 31 years. We've got to start putting pressure on this. Now, I hear people saying that they're going to reach out to our state reps, and that's well and good, but this should have started 15, 20 years ago. Let's take cannabis out of the issues. I'm more sick of talking about cannabis than anybody else. But we're in such financial dire straits right now. Right now, Nicole brought up the Riverview Towers. The city's going after them for $100,000+ for false alarms. Now look, I understand wanting to recoup that cost. One dispensary, can almost cover that cost. 2 does. I understand we need to replace these 15 seconds. But eventually we're going to have to start making tough decisions. It starts at Arkema. We need to bring in more business like that.
Thank you very much, Dave. And 2 minutes, closing statement, sir.
I have spent most of my life in the city of Riverview. Therefore, I know the people, I know their issues and concerns, and I am committed to do the best for our residents. I believe I represent the values of our residents and be their voice. I commit to ensuring that our city remains and continues long into the future a great place to work, live, and raise a family. I'm a candidate that brings a unique perspective to this election due to my decades-long involvement and experience with city government. In closing, I would like to take a moment to thank the library director, Zita Fratelli, and her wonderful staff in making the Riverview Veterans Memorial Library a jewel of the city. Her leadership and vision has had a positive input on our community, and we need to build on this type of leadership throughout the city. I found out it is inevitable that leaders are criticized, so I take it as a compliment and learn what lessons the criticism has to teach. I will make the difficult decisions that may not be popular for the betterment of our community in the future.
Thank you very much, Don. And Elmer,
Stand up for this one.
yes, sir. 2 minutes for a closing statement, sir.
I love this city. And if I had to make a choice between being elected a councilman and a yes vote on no marijuana, I would take the yes vote first and the council second. I plan on the expansion of the landfill when 16 cities wanted the expansion. One city didn't, Trenton. Why can Trenton overrule 16 cities that wanted the landfill expansion? And you know, those cities are gonna pay dearly. Trucks, gas, labor. That ain't right. And I'm saying it ain't over yet, because if I do get elected, that will be one of my first priorities. And it's just the way I think and speak. And I'm not afraid to speak out, and everybody knows that. So with that, along with, if I'm elected, I will take care of you residents, the seniors, and the kids, and the veterans. I'm an 8-year veteran of the United States Navy and very proud. And a 5-time commander at the American Legion Post 389 Riverview, and also a 40 and 8 member. You probably don't know what the 40 and 8 is. 15 seconds. But if you don't know, I'm going to tell you. It's in when the war, World War I, when they took the...
Thank you very much, Elmer. Thank you very much. The bell rang, and you don't want those two ladies mad at you. Thank you very much, sir. And Heather, 2 minutes, ma'am, for a closing statement.
Thanks to Blue Media for sponsoring the event, and also for Arnaldo's for hosting it. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody who came today. Overall, you know, you've heard a lot of questions asked, but one of the things that I'd ask people to think about, both here and online, is that because the Michigan law changed, early voting and mail-in voting prior to August 8th is now, you know, that's the law of the land. So one of the things that Go Media has done, and they're going to be publishing, they asked all the candidates the same questions, and they're going to be publishing that in the Riverview Register. So one of the things that I would do is, because it's really hard to get a feel and a texture for all of the candidates up here, so I would encourage everybody to wait till that's published so that you can get a true understanding of where the candidates are, and especially myself, about some of the issues and our plans for the city and how we've answered all of those questions the same, so that you can do a fair compare and contrast for the candidates up here. One of the questions that you might ask that I abstained on was the marijuana, and I said yes and no, and I couldn't explain myself. I think there is, you know, there is merit in having the dispensaries, but one of the things that isn't on the ballot that people might not be aware of is there's currently 12 proposals. So that means if all 12 proposals, there's, you know, some that have been approved, if all of them were there, we'd have more marijuana dispensaries than Coney Island restaurants at Riverview. So there's a yes and no answer for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And John, 2 minutes.
Okay, everybody, 2 minutes. I'm going to keep it short, I think. What I'm about to tell you guys is I'm committed to help change the direction we're headed in the city. I also would like to recommend that you guys go to the Riverview Register now to check out the bio that I have put in there in a half sheet along with Nicole and Brett. We have already put that information out there for you guys to read and understand what we're all about. A lot of the bio that we've covered here this evening as well. So real quick and to the point, I'm very interested in leading the city council and decisions that we make for all of you residents. I believe that I have enough work experience or the right work experience to help make those crucial decisions that make a difference in our city. And I'm looking forward to each and every one of you guys voting for me for the next one of the open city council openings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. And Nicole, 2 minutes, a closing statement, please.
Yes, I want your vote. Yes, I want to sit on city council. And yes, I think I'm qualified. Thank you for that. But I also want to acknowledge that there's a wide array of candidates up here. 10 people stepped up to this challenge. I think that's amazing. There's a candidate up here for everybody. So even if I'm not your candidate, somebody here is. So please vote. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicole. And Susie, 2 minutes, closing statement, ma'am.
Just wanted to thank everyone who came out today. The truth is, the city has difficult choices to make, and few of them are good. Budgets are at a zero-sum issue. Either you raise money or you cut services. There really is no third option. And anyone who tries to sell you on that's not being honest with you. Part of the city is contaminated, and business opportunities are limited. We are dealt a difficult hand, and we have to make the best of it. I am willing to help in those difficult decisions, as I have for the last 3.5 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susie. And ladies and gentlemen, again, you have submitted some very, very good, tough questions. And I'm glad this only happens 2 times, or every 2 years. Be this guy right here. And great answers. You have some great candidates to choose from. And again, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have learned more about your candidates tonight. And I thank you very much for spending the evening with us. Thank you. Good night.